What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are doing a transfer roundup show. Right, where do I start? I am quite happy with the transfer window we've had. To be fair, I was very skeptical because you know what we're like in the transfer window. To be fair, last summer we needed a striker, we needed all these attackers, and we bought Mikel Merino and Calafiori. So I didn't know what the club planned, and I didn't have any high hopes. But we've made 8 signings, and some pretty big ones within that 8. So them 8 signings are Kepa Arrizabalaga, Martin Zubimendi, Christian Norgard, or Norgel, however he says it in that video. Noni Madueke, Christian Mosquera, Victor Gyökeres, Eberechi Eze, and Piero Hincapié. Yeah, I am very happy with them signings. Was a bit skeptical with Madueke, especially for 55 million. If we had signed him at the time for 25 million, Saka backup, you know what, I wouldn't have even been that fussed about it. But against Liverpool, he was probably one of the best players on the pitch. Obviously things can change, like that was just one game, but I think we've got a player on our hands. Obviously he will never be starting over Saka, never, but to have an option like Madueke on the bench, or to have him playing off the left, I don't know whether we're going to have Eze on the left or whatever, but to have a player like Madueke, I think that's class. Especially if he plays how he did against Liverpool, because that was brilliant. Yeah, so let's start with, I don't know why I've gone straight to Madueke. Let's start with Kepa. I think that's probably one of the best backup keepers you could get, especially for 5 million. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not really much you can say about it. Like, he's a great backup keeper. You could almost argue, maybe not for a top 4 club, but you could almost argue he would start for most Premier League teams. So I think that is one of the best backup keepers we could have got. Martin Zubimendi, that just speaks for himself. We stole him from Liverpool. That was brilliant. But the fact that we already had the deal done before the transfer window even started was great. Means that nobody could take him, because Real Madrid were very, very interested in him, and we'd already made the pre-agreement, so there was no chance of that happening. But yeah, again, he's looked brilliant. He's done bits, and the way he like controls the midfield, he is unreal. Obviously very early days for him, but looking like another great signing from us. Christian Norgard, Premier League captain, like Premier League experience as well, for 12 million. That is exceptional business. You could really argue that 20-25 million was a fair fee to pay for him, and we got him for 12 million. You can't complain about that. And also, he hasn't played a Premier League game for us yet. I don't actually know what's wrong with him. I think he's injured, but nothing's really come out about what's actually wrong with him. But the pre-season games that he played in, I thought he was brilliant. Obviously he wouldn't start over Zubimendi, but again, another option to have on the bench. I think is another top tier option that we've got on our bench now. Madueke, I've said my thoughts on Madueke. As I said, I wasn't like one of them haters of Madueke. I wasn't like, oh no, we should never sign him, blah blah blah. I was willing to give him a chance, but I was very skeptical on it. But after Liverpool, I am very intrigued, and if he carries on playing how he did against Liverpool, I think that's another great signing from us. But it's nice that we finally acknowledged the fact that we need a backup for Saka. It's been a long time due coming. I'm starting to get a bit concerned that Saka's gonna start being injury prone, because within 2 games of the season he comes off with a hamstring injury, which is a bit disappointing, but it's what it is. But we've recruited well, and we instantly had an option to go into the next match day who could take over from Saka, which last season we did not have that option. So it's nice that we now have options, and good options, to take over. I mean, like Odegaard, you got Eze. Saka, you've got Madueke. Even Odegaard, you got Eze. We have got some very good options if we do get big injuries. I mean, like, going on to Christian Mosquera, Saliba came off against Liverpool. Christian Mosquera came in, and to be fair, he did the job. He was probably top 3 players on Sunday. Yet again, could not complain about a single thing he did, especially 50 million. I think that's a steal. But my only worry is, if we don't win silverware this year, I'm a bit worried that Saliba will go, and this is why we bought Mosquera, as like Saliba's what's what I'm looking for, like to take over from Saliba when he leaves. So that's my only worry about Mosquera. Don't get me wrong, he looks like a phenomenal player, but it just makes me wonder if we don't win anything this year, whether Saliba's on his way out. Let's hope not. But that's the only thing that went through my head when I saw that we signed Mosquera. And obviously with all the links with Saliba and Real Madrid. But I'm glad we've kept all our big players this season. I felt like maybe one might have gone at the start of the window, but because there was rumours that like a favourite player, or well, I can't remember how they phrased it, but it was like one big player will leave Arsenal this coming window, and we've not lost anybody. We've actually sold very well towards the end of the window. We got rid of all the deadwood, so props to Berta for that. But now on to probably the biggest signing of the window, Victor Gyökeres. When I saw Gyökeres, here we go, I was lost for words. Scoring, what was it, like 50, 60 goals in the Portuguese league last season. I mean, no matter what player you are, you don't just rock up and score 50, 60 goals in a league campaign. He was born. Let me just check. He scored last season. I'm looking. Right. Okay, sorry, 54 goals, 39 of which were in the league. But still, that's unreal stats. And he did it in the Champions League as well. So we've got a very good player on our hands. I'm just a bit worried about how long it will take for him to get to grips with the Premier League. Because you can see it against Liverpool and United. Yeah, he wasn't getting as much service as you'd hope, but you could just see he wasn't physically there. He didn't look Premier League ready, so that's my only concern about how long it would take for him to adjust. But that first goal against Leeds, like that solo goal, that's what happens when you give him space. He will have that ball in the back of the net, no worries. That's Victor Gyökeres for you, but I am just a bit worried about how long it will take for him to adjust in the Premier League. Now on to Eberechi Eze. Now when we were linked to him, and obviously he's a Highland boy, I've loved Eze for years now. I was extremely hyped, and then obviously we kind of like settled down and our interest in him, and it sucked. But then when Tottenham came in, I was like, fuck, we've got to sign him. And then we stole him from Spurs. That was class. We can hear them crying down the lane. Eberechi scores again. One chat with Mick Arteta, he said, wow, fuck off Tottenham, I'm a gooner now. yeah, no, absolutely class signing. I would almost argue Eze is as important as signing a striker, so as important as signing Gyökeres, because our left winger role just needs filling. Martinelli is just not it anymore. I love Martinelli, and I always backed him. Even last season, I was backing him. I was like, waiting for him. He's going to pop off again. But he's just not it. Trossard's getting older now, and he's just not that great as a starting player. The only time he works wonders is off the bench. So signing Eze for me was crucial. At points it looked like we was never going to pull the trigger. It looked like he was going to Spurs, but we did. We pulled the trigger, and he's back home. So yeah, that was a brilliant signing. He's going to do bits for us. Yeah, he was great against Liverpool as well. He didn't really have that long, but you could see he was a different kind of spark to Martinelli. Right, and then on to Piero Hincapié. I don't really know much about him. I know he's a centre-back. I know that much. But I don't really watch the German league. But by the looks of it, and what I've heard other people talk about, he's going to be another brilliant signing. And again, props to Andrea Berta, because the way he's structuring these deals, so like loans with obligations and loans with options to buy, I think it was the fact that Leverkusen only wanted us to be obligated to buy. I saw this morning. I didn't read too much into it, but it was like Leverkusen only wanted us to have a loan with obligation. But instead of doing that, we did a loan with option to buy, but both, so we can trigger the obligation to buy, or Leverkusen can trigger the obligation to buy. So if we don't want to sign him, Leverkusen can force us into signing him, and I think we did the same with Kivior. So I think Kivior's the same, option to buy, but both teams can trigger an obligation. I didn't really read too much into it, but creativity from Berta again. You can see the difference between him and Edu. It's generational. Edu sucks. His business was just so shit. Imagine needing some attackers last summer and just pulling in Mikel Merino and Calafiori. We obviously had Sesko at the start of the window, and then we kind of was told that he wanted to stay at Leipzig for one more season, and yeah, we just didn't bother looking for anybody else. But this time round, we had options. We had more than just one player. So props to Berta again. He's done bits. I mean, if you told me at the start of the window these are the players we'd be signing, I'd be like, nah, you're fucking joking. Like, if you said we signed Martin Zubimendi, Madueke, Gyökeres, I'd be like, yeah. But then be pulling up with like Christian Norgard as like a backup, Eze, Hincapié. They're options, but they're very good options. So like Man City, when they were doing like their total runs and stuff, they had the same caliber players on the pitch that they had on the bench, and that's what we've missed. We have missed them options on the bench, or just having them options to rotate. We've never been able to rotate properly without missing quality. So next season, well this season, we're going to be able to rotate, and hopefully that means less injuries. But we've also got competition now. Players are going to have to compete for the starting place. So that's another thing. So yeah, guys, that is my transfer roundup. That's just going off the top of my head, just thoughts. But yeah, I'll probably do a deep analytical stuff on the transfer window, maybe in a week or so. But I just wanted to get my initial thoughts out there as the window's just closed. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you smash a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love and support at the moment. I've gained over 1,000 subscribers and 200,000 views in the past month, which is unreal. So yeah, thank you guys for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video, it will probably be Forest matchday vlog, or the analytics video that I was just on about. Peace.